And welcome back to the makeshift studio. Today we're going to cheat a little. I needed to order a foot for my featherweight to do my little sewing demo. I'm always a couple days behind, and the foot hasn't arrived yet, so I'm going to divert. I'm going to do a diversion. So that's what I'm going to do today. Uh, my mom always got a kick out of something, and that was that no matter where I went, I always seemed to be able to find something that had something to do with quilting or something that I could drag home to use for quilting. Uh, when I moved back to Ohio, one of the things that I enjoyed doing, either by myself or with my family, was going to some of the events or festivals that we had. And one of the big ones that we had in our area was called the Heritage Festival. It was always kind of in the fall. And it took place at some place called the Johnston Farm, I believe. And it was a place that was on the canal, the old Erie Canal, and where the Indians used to come and do their trading. Had a trading post there. Had one of the original courthouses there, which is a very tiny building. Um, so when they did I still had one of the original houses there, of the man that had the homestead. And when they had the Heritage Festival, it was like basically split up into two components. One side was an encampment, and they had like the Civil War tents, and then they also had the teepees. So you had kind of two different types of people with their tents, and everything had to be authentic. So you had people that were dressed, uh, the originals that were dressed up in the I don't know what you would call it, loincloths, and then you had the guys that were dressed up in their cowhide and whatnot. But they would be cooking beans and things in the cast iron, and all the quilts that were there had to be hand sewn and of the correct time period. And you could walk around the encampments and talk to the people. Some of them would even let you eat with them or have a drink or something. But the other side of the uh, entertainment park was all of these different tents. Some of them just had like antiques. Some of them were arts and crafts type things. So they had candle makers, and they had quilters. They had a quilting booth there. Candle makers. They had ironsmith. Of course, part of the reason I like to go, if I haven't ever mentioned this before, was I love to eat. They had the bourbon chicken. They had corn on the cob. They had caramel apples and kettle corn. And this is a true story. When I was a kid, I don't remember ever having kettle corn anywhere. Now, everywhere up here, every festival has kettle corn. I don't know where that sprang up at or what year that sprang up, but that was not a thing when I was a kid. They did not have kettle corn. But now I'm addicted to kettle corn. So um, I like to indulge in the festivities. So, but they had a lot of tents that just had antiques and stuff. And one year that I went, um, I found this particular booth that had what I'm about to show you. And this is just, they only had like maybe seven. And that was the start of something. And so, what I'm going to talk today is about collections. And it's about how we collect things that are associated with quilting or sewing, but aren't necessarily quilts or thread or fabric. And so, what I'm going to talk about today are my little oil cans. So, I went into this booth. This is actually, it wasn't even a tented booth, it was just like a table outside. And it had just a lot of miscellaneous items. And this particular time, I got very lucky because they had about 7 of these oil cans, and I don't remember which ones they were. I mean, obviously, several of them are very similar, but yet, if you look at them, they're also very different. But I think I got like 7 of them for $21, so they were like $3 a piece. I don't know if you've ever looked at oil cans, especially antique oil cans. Uh, they're not usually $3. Um, but it started me on a little thing. So now, every time I go out to an antique store, now I look for antique oil cans. And, I really like them when they make that little clicking sound at the bottom. That's my like little favorite thing um, that I like to check for. They're almost like little frogs. Um, but I remember when I got home that day that, my mom was always like, "What did you bring home now?" And, you know, of course, she made fun of me at first. Oh, that one didn't pop back. But then she liked them too. Uh, she didn't want me to get rid of them. But I've had, many people try and sneak them away from me since then. Um, Especially guys that work on, different types of mechanical items, because it's not just sewers that would want an oil can. Many types of people would want, a nice little oil can for something. Now, I don't use these for oiling any of my machines, but I certainly do like to have them in the studio. Usually, they're only in a place that I can see them because I just get like a little quiet kick out of them. But it is kind of a peripheral thing that is associated with sewing. Um, and of course, I always think of the Tin Man from The Wizard of Oz when I see them also, and so it makes me smile for that reason also. But it just made me wonder. I stumbled upon them when I was, trying to bring stuff over or package stuff up as I am, getting things ready at the old house and the new place. Uh, because it seems like I'm in quicksand trying to get everything finished. But I keep stumbling across things, and this is just one of 2 collections that I was going to talk about. Not today. I have another one I'll show you on a different day. But I just wanted to see what kind of collections that you had. Um, Now, I know some of them will be very common, but also I'm sure that some of you have some things that are probably quite unusual. So I would like to see if anyone would show pictures in the comments of things that maybe they've collected or that are associated with quilting or sewing in some way. Things that maybe that they stumbled across in the beginning and maybe just found 1 or 2 of, but they've grown quite fond of collecting. Maybe it was something that they were passed down in the family um, from their grandparents or a beloved aunt or uncle. But I get a real kick out of these. I know when my friend Steve saw them, he tried to sneak them all off to the garage. He thought they belonged more in the garage, uh, you know, with his stuff than with mine. But that didn't work very good. So that really is all of my spiel today is just collections. I apologize for my appearance today. This is going to be my public service announcement. Is have you been to the dermatologist this year? Um, I lived in Florida for 25 years, and so my mother and I both had to go to the dermatologist all the time. Uh, so I have to go every 6 months at least. But this year, my dermatologist switched offices, and I had a heck of a time getting an appointment at the new office because they left a message saying call this number, and every time I called it was disconnected. And then when you called the office, you couldn't just talk to somebody. It gave you a carousel, and you could make an appointment with the next available doctor through an automated system. But it wasn't ever my doctor. It was always just the next available doctor. And every time you had to go through all of your insurance information. So I tried that like 13 times, and I finally gave up. So then I started trying to go over to the office, my local office, even though he wasn't at the local office, to make an appointment. But I always seemed to go on Friday when they were closed. So it took me, what is this, August? It took me 8 months to get in to see my dermatologist this year. So I had a good one here. I have a biopsy here. I had a Band-Aid on here, so I look like I had been shot in the ear. I had one here and one here and one here, all from 1 year. So go to the dermatologist if you haven't been this year. So as I'm waiting for my foot's been ordered, and so next video should be on my little featherweight. I'm excited for that. A little something fun. And that'll be it for today. Until I see you again next time, you're sewing. Keep piecing it together.